Welcome everybody. Welcome. What's up, Joe? What's up, Shireen? How you doing? Thanks for liking my video. Hello. Hello. Let's get this party started. Welcome everybody. If you're tuning in on a replay, watching this live via replay, what's up? Feel free to skip past all the boring parts. We might get into something spicy. Maybe not. Who knows? But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Darin Rios. I am a strategy consultant, life coach, and this is what I do. I go on live. We talk about all kinds of shit, dude. Like last night we spent like an hour talking about theology. We talk about relationships, we talk about life, we talk about ideas, theories, philosophy. The whole reason I go on live is to help people to the best of my ability and to have good conversation so that maybe we can all walk away feeling a little bit better. Who knows? Do you own a home? No, I do not. I rent a loft. So let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? By the way, I'm only going to be live for about 15-20 minutes. Do you have a nice day? Did I have a nice day? Yeah, I did. Very nice day. What's up, everyone over here on YouTube? Can you speak about faith? Sure, yeah. Yo. Yeah, I can speak about faith. I mean, I can share my perspective on it. I think faith is God. Faith is the substance of things not seen, right? And so it is like believing in shit that you can't see, but you just know that it's true. And so a lot of people want to say they have faith in God or faith in shit, and they spend all their life worrying. You can't say you have faith and worry. You can't. When you find yourself worrying, you have to say, I'm losing my faith. Like, I'm not having faith right now. And that's okay, but don't lie to yourself. And so at the end of the day, faith is not for the faint of heart. It's not something that's easily practiced. It requires a lot of fear. It requires a lot of courage, if you will, not fear. It musters fear, but it requires courage. And so what I mean by that is most people say they have a dream, but what's required of them to achieve that dream is a level of risk, and for them to enter realms of unknowing and in situations of unknowing for them to excel. And so most people won't take that risk because they're motivated too much by the comfortability of knowing everything and knowing all the outcomes. But where faith comes in is saying, okay, I know what I want. I know where I'm going. I know what is out there for me. And I'm going to trust that I will receive that which I know is mine. And so you can't do that with control. Because if you operate from a place of control, what you end up doing is essentially operating from and listening to your fear. And an individual who is constantly listening to their fear, rationalizing it and explaining it away, becomes disillusioned by that fear. And in turn, they can't live a courageous life of risk and faith and like growth because, well, they're too busy being afraid. Or they're too busy staying afraid. And it's okay, like fear's an indicator, it should never be a master, right? And so it's in order to live a life of faith, it requires a fuck ton of knowing the unknown. That doesn't make sense, but it does. And so here's what it looks like for me. When there are times in my life when I'm like, I don't know how this is going to play out, and I have no fucking clue. I know what cards I have on the table, and they could or could not work. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when I find myself trying to figure out how it's all going to work, I get anxious and worried and afraid and all this stuff because you can't figure it out. And so what I do when I find myself trying to figure it out and like resort to fear and control over faith and curiosity is remind myself my requests, my prayers, I just call it prayers, if you will. And here's what I do. I call things into my reality. So when I pray and I talk to God, I speak things into my reality. And I say, I call this thing into my reality. Right now, in this very moment, that this thing is making its way into my reality. And I receive that and I make it known. And that's it. Right? And so there's a scripture that I abide by is, whatsoever you ask in my name, it shall be given to you, like according to the will of God, or some shit like that. I live by this. But anyway, it always rings in my head, asking in the name of the Lord, in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, whatever. And so when you hear Christians say shit like, in the name of Jesus, it's like the stamp, it's like the authority to claim something into your reality. And so do whatever the fuck you want. This is what I do. Trust me. The reason I have the relationship I have, the beautiful child that I have, the apartment that I have, the career that I have, the opportunities that I've had, and I currently have, is because I have specifically called that into my life. And how it came about did not look any way, shape, or form how I could have ever imagined. But here I am. And so, when it comes to living by faith, you have to fucking believe in what you ask for. You have to believe it. So when you start finding yourself being afraid of like, oh, I know I prayed for this, or I manifested this, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I prayed for this, but what if? Nope, there is no but what if. Here's what I tell myself. Every time my brain tries to do a but what if, I say, my requests have been made known. I don't know how it's going to work. It's not for me to figure out. It is only for me to make my request. When you go to a restaurant, it is not your job to order and then go into the kitchen and cook your meal. No, you place the order, shut the fuck up, sit down, and expect that these people know what they're doing, and they're going to bring you what you ordered. Okay? And if they don't have what you ordered, they're going to come back and they're going to tell you, hey, look, I know you ordered this. However, so imagine, you're making a request to God. Who knows you better than you even know yourself? So for instance, say the chef knows you better than you know you, right? Just bear with me. You place an order. The chef says he can't have peanuts, or he can't have, or she can't have cilantro, or whatever that is. I know this because I know that they have some sort of, I've seen something on their face that tells me that they have a reaction to a particular thing, and I know that this does that, blah, blah, blah. So they come out and they tell you, I didn't make you this, but I made you this. Now there's two options here. You can throw a fit and be like, that's not what I wanted, and I want peanuts. And it's like, well, then you're gonna have to go somewhere else and get peanuts, because I know if I serve it to you, it's gonna kill you. Because I know better, right? And so we tend to pray for things in life and try to have faith that we're going to receive something that we cannot see, or get to a place that we can't fully understand yet. And then we show up and it's not like, because we just had this like picture of exactly how it was gonna be, and it didn't turn out that way. We're like, this isn't it. And you totally miss a blessing. You totally miss a gift because you're too focused on your outcome and not trusting that the one that's responsible for this entire reality in which we're being sustained in has your best interest in mind. And so this is first and foremost something that we need to understand. And I'm not even talking about religion or any shit like that. It's simply something higher than us that is clearly here, clearly happening. But how to rid yourself of doubt. Like what I just said, but you can't rid yourself of it. It always comes up. You just have to know how to manage it. It's so difficult to change that state of mind. How can we surrender to trust, faith? That is what I struggle with. How can we surrender to trust? I think I understand your question. It's a practice. So faith isn't just something that you like, oh, that's what it is? Okay, cool, I have faith now. No, like faith requires a situation, a need, and an understanding. And it must be implemented all together. Right? You can't be like, well, later I'm gonna have faith. No, faith is a in the now type of shit, And so every opportunity that you have a chance to have faith, take it. And it's usually in opportunities where you're really worried about something. So I highly recommend you. Cool, you're worried about something. You're worried about finances or a relationship or an opportunity or something. Speak as if you're speaking to the one who's running this whole show, and claim it and say, this, I'm calling forth this. This is what I'm doing. And so when I do it, I believe that when I request this, I do it because of my understanding of what God did through Christ, through Jesus, and on a historical level. Came, showed us what it means to be reconnected, showed us what it means to be a human living in their fullest potential, was the perfect example, God incarnate, and became that sacrifice to show us like, yo, you guys are fucking up because I'm showing you how to reconnect and you're about to kill me for it. And this is the gospel, right? This is why I say, like, when I operate in a way of like faith or manifestation or law of attraction or anything like that, is all based in this principle, this understanding of what God did for mankind, for humanity. And so at the end of the day, if you want to have faith, it's not about getting rid of doubt. It's about identifying it and choosing to trust in that moment. And you might not feel it. It's not going to be all like fucking fluffy duffy. You're still going to feel like, but the more you do it, the more you will begin to see that you have never been let down. When you needed money or you needed something, it came, right? Something happened. Like you're here, aren't you? You made it this far. Who's to say you can't continue making it? And so now you do it consciously. And so that's a whole different ballgame, because when you start living by faith consciously, it requires a deeper understanding of what's going on out here in this plane of reality, and in here, in this plane of reality, which is the catalyst of all the reality in which we see in the physical world. And what I mean by that is, I say this all the time, but like the phone that you're holding in your hand or the microphone that I'm speaking into was once in here in somebody's brain. And then it now exists in reality. My glasses, my hat, my jewelry, anything outside of nature, anything man-made once was created in the mind of a human. Nature is what has been created and is being created in the mind of God, if you will, which we call the universe. But the universe is something that it's a created realm, right? That's just my opinion. Or it's like an extension of, anyway, I'm running rabbits here, but I think you understand what I'm saying. I'm a chef, so I know what you're talking about. Oh, that's awesome. How to stay focused in life and a job and your career. I'm still trying to figure that one out, man. But what I find that helps me is what were we talking about? I'm just kidding. What helps me is writing down notes. Like, okay, what do I need to do? What are my goals? And so when it's like, okay, it's time for me to work. What are my goals? I go back to my notes in my phone. I open up, what are my goals? What's today? Today is Thursday. On Thursdays, I have this going on. I need to do this. Okay, so I need to focus on this. And then you get the ball rolling, right? God bless you. Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate that. Thank you, Vanessa. I personally need your help from I'm in the depths of despair. Help with what? Oh, Laura. I'm only going to be on here for a few more minutes because I have to get on a call soon, and I like to prepare before I get on a call. Man, you're preaching to me. That's good. Oof. But yeah, man, it's like this faith stuff isn't just like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not something, it's not an easy thing to do. You know, like me and my girl were having a conversation last night. I think it was about some stuff where it was like, it really triggers a worry nerve in you, you know? And it just sends you in like a spiral. It's like, you know, and it was like, I've just fucking been there so many fucking times, and I have never been let down, ever. And so, does worry happen to me? Yeah, for sure. But I keep it at bay. I say, okay, look, I see you, I see what you're trying to do, but you have no help here. So I'm not gonna worry, I'm gonna trust. And I've been in situations where it's like, if my prayer isn't answered, I will be ultimately fucked. Like, my life would be ruined. Like, it would not be a good thing. So I'm like, what am I gonna worry about? Like, I've prayed about it, and there's absolutely nothing I can actually do. And so I had like 3 days to come up with like tens of thousands of dollars at one point in my life. Fucking 2 days later, I get an email that it's all taken care of. So when I talk about this type of shit, I know what it is to worry. But I also know what it is to be heard. And so it's not easy. I'm not gonna act like I just had faith in God and everything was cool. No, I was fucking quivering. I probably peed a little bit. It was terrifying. However, anytime that terror would arise, I would say, my requests have been made known. All my needs are met at every moment in time and point of space. This is the truth. I have never been let down. And I've been in some pretty sticky situations in these past 12 years, moving to Hollywood and trying to make it in Hollywood and moving up in my career and all that kind of crazy shit. So, faith is not for the faint of heart, and I totally get it why people live comfortable lives. I was told once, I was told, give your worries to God, but once you worry, they are now your ownership because you didn't trust in God to handle. That's so good. Yeah, it's like think about it. Like, you go to a restaurant, you place an order, you sit down, shut the fuck up, and wait for your food to come out. Let the chef do his job or her job. But if you make your request and then you go back into the kitchen, and this is what most people do, they make their request and then they go in the kitchen, they try to cook their own meal, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so they're fucking fumbling around, they end up hurting themselves, and then eventually they just get to a point where they get so burnt out they don't even eat the meal that they wanted because they didn't know how the fuck to cook it. So they end up settling for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then they leave, and then they start saying shit like, that restaurant was stupid. You understand what I'm saying? I tried that God stuff. It didn't work. I tried to manifest that stuff. Didn't work. It's like, no, you tried to control the outcome. You tried to play God and it didn't work. But no. You don't you dare be responsible for your choices and decisions. How dare you accept that you're wrong? Because remember, you're the one in control. Listen, guys, like, I'm not on a high horse here. But what if you know you have to make a choice? I have faith, but I also know I have to be accountable and make decisions. I'm currently in that limbo to stay or leave a long-term relationship. Yeah, I know that. I know that too. I was there for many years, and I left a 7-year relationship. We lived together for about 5 of those years. And she was a great person. I have no ill feelings towards her whatsoever. The relationship was not working, and nor was it going to work if we stayed together. And I knew I had to let go. And so, in those moments where you're asking, what if you know you have to make a choice? I have faith, but I also know I have to be accountable and make decisions. I'm currently, like, you can't have faith without making hard decisions. The harder the decision to make, the more faith most likely is going to be required. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've always believed in God because my mom, I think she was like a psychic at one point. Like, she used to do like palm readings and shit like that. And like, she always had some crazy ass stories. My mom was an extremely sensitive person when it came to like ghosts and spirits and shit. But she always believed in God, and she was always like, say your prayers, believe the Holy Scriptures, and yes. And I didn't know, and I got caught up in some culty type shit when I was younger and almost became a Jehovah's Witness, and they tried to brainwash me when I was like 5, 6 years old, and one of their family members ended up like molesting me and all of this crazy shit. And so I've had some encounters, and let's just say when I was 17, when I was 16, I was involved in some pretty like heavy crime stuff. I don't know if I can say it on live because me and 2 of my friends were going to make somebody sleep forever who pulled a gun on me when I was a kid. I was probably like 14, 15. The guy pulled a gun on me, threatened to kill me. We ended up getting away, but we were gonna make him sleep forever. And it wasn't my idea, it was one of my friend's ideas, but it was 3 of us. One of them came up with the idea, and we both were like, yes. But me, I was like, yeah. But like, I started realizing that my life was like, oh fuck, like, I'm really about to do this, because he ended up getting a gun, like a little .38 revolver, and was like, I'm fucking Scarface now. He was older than us, so I just followed his lead. Long story short, we had done some crazy shit even before all of that too, and I just didn't like the way that my life was going. People tried murdering me at a super early age, and I was just living. I had parents, but like my dad was never home. My stepmom was extremely abusive, so it was always out. I could do whatever I wanted since I was like 7 years old. And so I just hung out on the streets with my friends as long as I wanted, and came home, got my ass beat by my stepmom, and My dad was nowhere to be found except on the weekends, and the last thing he wanted to do was get into an argument with my stepmom about abusing me on his days off. So, and don't get me wrong, I love my dad to death, but he fucked up. So I had to grow up fast. Exactly. So when it came down to it, shit really hit the fan. I remember I spent one night just saying, if you're real, if any of this shit is real, I was like, God, I don't know. Like, I'm just like talking. If this shit is real, you come get me. You come show yourself, reveal yourself to me in a way that I can't deny it, because I can't just walk away from this shit that I'm in. Like, I can't just, sorry guys, can't hang out with you anymore. Like, when Jesus changed my life, you know? But it's funny because, like, that's exactly what happened. But the way that it all worked out, it was pretty violent, but it all worked out. And so when I speak about God, I don't think about it in the context of religion or what you might think Christianity or what, all that shit that's just like, I'm the farthest thing from that. And I was a part of all of that stuff too. But yeah, man. I mean, it is to me, in my experience, I can't speak for anyone else, the realest shit I have ever experienced. And the only experience in my life that gives me a peace that surpasses any understanding, that has sustained me through all the shit that I've been through, and allows me to a deeper understanding so that I don't have to succumb to the pain and just numb out. Because yeah, if it wasn't for this knowledge, I would have been wasted a long time ago. Struggles and hardships, yeah, man. Pain isn't, I see it like this, like pain's not a punisher. Pain is a teacher. It's whether, it's how you look at it. Like, yeah, it sucks, and it's just like, what the fuck, you know? But if you're feeling pain right now, your number one key is, what am I to be learning here? What is this showing me? What am I learning here? Right? I'm gonna go over here on YouTube and see, I got some people talking. See what the chat's saying over here. Truth, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at it. It sure as hell doesn't feel like it. It feels like, it feels like you're dying sometimes. Thank you so much. Needed to hear that. You're welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. I believe I missed a golden opportunity because of fear. How to move forward. Man, I have felt like that so many times. It's funny because tonight even, I was thinking about that. Like, I have some opportunities right now, and I'm like, like I thought about in the past where I botched opportunities, or at least I felt like I did. Who knows? And I thought to myself, maybe I don't have to do that this time, right? Like, instead of being like, oh my God, what if I fuck this up? No, I was like, oh my God, what if I don't? What if I actually like make this work? And just like reframe my mind around that. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being able to, yeah. And, you know, when I started TikTok, and like, I know I'm not on TikTok right now, but like, on my TikTok, I had like 180 something followers, and like, I just was like, okay, shared a story, kind of opened up, was going through a really rough breakup. And the only thing that, or not the only thing, but one of the major things that helped me was opening up, sharing my experience, sharing my story, sharing, you know, even if I came off as like, if I was projecting, right? Like, I was dealing with some shit, but like, I'm talking about it and I'm just projecting, but like, people would still receive it. Some people would be like, oh, like, dude, you're in pain. And I wouldn't deny it. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I was in a lot of pain, right? And so at the end of the day, being able to be vulnerable and open up, it's like, it's not only healing for others, it's healing for yourself. And yeah, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, every time I think about going live, I'm like, oh God, like, so much energy. But every time I go live, I'm like, 9 times out of 10, I'm like, that was amazing. That was amazing. And then not just that, but it's allowing me to, I'm noticing like, oh, it's a lot of energy, but it's also like, don't get it twisted. Just because you get tired doesn't mean you're burnt out. Those are two very different things. And so going live, I'm usually tired, even more so now that I have a daughter and there's no such thing as sleeping in anymore. But like, yeah. And by all means, don't think I'm like bitching about it. I love waking up to my daughter. First thing I see in the morning is her smiling at me. And I'm not joking. Like, right when I open my eyes, she's like, but yeah, this for me is like, this is an act of faith for me. Like, showing up here, I don't know who the fuck I'm gonna help. There's a bunch of people in here who've never seen me before, other than maybe my videos, or maybe you're seeing me for the first time. You know? And if I can help one person, if I can provide some sort of insight or some sort of clarity or something, if I can help take one brick out of the bag, out of that you're carrying around, then great. If I can lighten the load just a little bit, my job's done. And not just me, man, like, let this be a part of your life too. You're a human being as well, and we need each other. And yeah, you might not have the experiences that I have. What do you fucking do? But you have experiences. And so you have experiences that nobody else has. So share it, whatever that is. I think for the most part, people don't want to share their experiences. I mean, for many reasons, but like, what most people want to do is regurgitate experiences, regurgitate other people's ideas and stories and stuff like that. And to an extent, like, okay, that's fine. But if you can't figure out how to tell your story, right? Or if you can't figure out how to tell a story that you learned in particular about something that you went through, it's going to be very hard to authentically connect to other human beings. Thanks to be you, man. To be you. You can turn it off. Yeah. I know it is. Yeah, you can turn it off. It's probably better if you turn it off. Okay, thank you, babe. I feel like I can't tell my story like none would believe. Yeah, you can feel like that. That's okay to feel like that. Whether you want it to be true or not, that's up to you. If you want your feelings to be true, then they will be, but you have to understand feelings they're just chemical responses in the body. Truth is beyond comprehension. When truth hits, there's no arguing with it. Love from India. Nice, welcome. Some of us, our purpose is to share our story. Is that how you feel about yourself? You feel like your purpose is to share yours? It's so difficult to be honest with oneself, to see yourself with all your faults and still love yourself. We must pass this self-truth and self-love. We must pass this self-truth and self-love. Yeah, I think that it is very difficult to be honest with yourself. But it shouldn't be. It should be the norm. And sometimes, at first, it's very difficult. And here's the thing. So I wrote this ebook called The Inner Alchemist. And if you guys are interested in it, you just hit the link in my bio. It costs money, but it's a really good course. It's a book, but it's like a course. Anyway, it talks about these belief systems, where they come from, how to identify them, and how to change them. But in order to do that, this is where the hard work starts. Identifying why you are the way that you are. And sometimes you're not even gonna know. Like you'll be working on one thing and think like, oh, I got this down pat, and then some other shit will pop up, and you'll be like, oh, dude, thank you so much. Thank you. Some other shit will pop up, and you're like, I didn't know that I was afraid of success. Like that's a huge thing that people just don't. They're like, I'm not afraid of success. Blah blah blah. And when I was, I think I was like 25, 26, I was working with this investor guy and this music producer, and they were gonna produce an album. He wanted me to be like fucking, because I was singing and writing music and shit like that. And so anyway, the producer sat with me and was like, I need to ask you a serious question. I was like, sure. And he goes, are you afraid of success? I was like, no. But like inside I was like, never heard of that shit, probably. So anyway, those fears are, it's like we have these beliefs that limit us, that are like against our true potential. And then we have a fear that protects it. And anytime that belief that is holding us back is challenged, that fear pops up. And fear is a funny thing because it gets us to act in weird ways. That's not always healthy. And most of the time, fear gets us to act in anger. Fear's language is anger. So when you're angry, you're more than likely speaking the language of fear. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then, so when you're angry, somebody says something to you and you take it away, and now you're angry. It's imperative, like, what am I afraid of here? Right? And so, if you can do this, this is the beginning of knowing yourself, in my opinion. But you get better at it. And the more that you practice something, the better you get at it. Practice doesn't make perfect, because there's no such thing as perfect. Practice makes progress. So remember that. If we could talk to your 7-year-old. Oh, and what I was going to say too, in the book that I was telling you about, The Inner Alchemist, there's inner child work. So like there's exercises in there that you can do on your own time, obviously, and that will help you dig deep and bring things up, to help you reprocess and reshape beliefs, and essentially just take control of your life. And this isn't just like a one-time thing. Like, don't just get the book and then think that everything's gonna be fine and dandy. Like, this is some shit that you're gonna have to practice for the rest of your life. Because, I mean, what's the alternative? Not practicing growth? Staying stagnant and being like a cesspool of misery? Or be a flowing, raging river of growth? I don't know, for lack of better analogies. Both of them are difficult. Just choose which one. Because here's the thing. Not doing the work is difficult, but leads to misery. Doing the work is difficult, but leads to happiness and fulfillment. And it's exciting. It's fucking not easy. Especially for those of you who are in relationships or are trying to have a healthy relationship. It's like, there's going to be things. Relationships are mirrors, man. They reflect back to you a bunch of shit that you need to know about yourself. And so that's a whole nother topic, but yeah, one of them leads to misery. It's difficult and leads to misery, a miserable, wasted life. And then the other one, growth, is difficult to do, but leads to happiness and fulfillment. If you could talk to your 7-year-old self, would you tell him to add value to his life? No. He's 7 years old. Not tell him fucking... first of all this crazy shit that's happening to you right now, you're going to be okay. It's not your fault. Step one. Other than that, stop smoking. I'm just kidding. I didn't start smoking cigarettes till I was 9. But don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes now, but I did for like 9 years. And my 7-year-old self would have no fucking clue what that means, to add value to his life. Like, what the fuck? I didn't even know what that meant until I was like 33. I found your videos in May when I was in the Middle East. I really enjoy your videos. I struggle with sticking with something other than working and coming home. Awesome. I'm stoked to have you, SD. But you struggle with sticking with something. Shit. You guys, I gotta wrap it up. I love you. But I have to hop on a call. I'm actually a little behind. Lost track of time. Love you guys. I'll be back in a bit. See ya.